If you want to land the best jobs on the market, then you need to include plenty of in-demand skills within your CV. In this video, I'm going to share 63 valuable skills that you can add to your CV. I'm going to show you how you add them to your CV in a way that makes a big impact on employers and gets you plenty of interviews. And if you are new here, then of course don't forget to subscribe and get access to more of our CV advice video content.
So in this video, I'm going to go through 63 valuable skills for your CV. So these are skills that employers value and will add impact to your CV and help you get more interviews. And I'm also going to show you how to add them to your CV for the best results. So I'm going to start off by first of all covering what actually is a skill, what constitutes a skill and why they're good for your CV. Then we're going to look at the two types of skill, which are soft skills and hard skills. And then I'm going to run through some example soft skills, some example hard skills, and most importantly I'm going to show you how to add soft skills to your CV and how to add hard skills to your CV in order to get the best results from your applications. So what is a skill? Well, a skill is defined in the dictionary as the ability to do something well or having expertise in a particular area. So essentially when you are writing skills in your CV, you're telling employers what you're good at. So this is why it's so important to get your skills across in your CV. And when we break skills down, there are really two main types of skill that we can look at. There are hard skills, or job-specific skills as they're also known, and soft skills, which are generic skills. Now, hard skills are skills that are needed to carry out specific job functions. So, for example, complaint handling within a customer service role, or budget management within a finance role, let's say. And these hard skills are tangible and they're very easy to measure. So, for example, if you look at complaint handling, you could say that a candidate has 3 years of complaint handling experience and they resolve 90% of all complaints within a day. And that would give you a real good idea, a tangible idea of how good they are at complaint handling. Now, if we look at soft skills, these are the common skills that are required for most jobs. So things like teamwork, attention to detail, they're still very important, but they generally apply to most jobs. And the difficult thing about soft skills is that they're not tangible and they're a lot harder to measure. So, it's a lot harder to say that how good is somebody at teamwork, or, how good is their attention to detail. For example, you compare that to complaint handling, when you can put facts and figures around that and actually give some real tangible evidence of how good they are. So let's start off by having a look at some example soft skills for your CV. So these are soft skills that you probably should be trying to get across in your CV no matter what job you do. Organisation. So in any job that you're in, you need to be organised. You need to have systems for doing things. You need to make sure that you're getting in work on time and you're able to deliver your work consistently, without being all over the place and making a mess of things. Planning. So, tied to organisation, obviously, you need to have a methodical way of actually planning your week, your time, make sure you're delivering work on time and you don't need to be chased and pestered to do things. Communication. Now, this is a classic one. In any job you do, you're going to be required to communicate. So this can be broken down into lots of other skills. So, written communication, verbal communication, running presentations. There are so many different types of communication skill that fit under that umbrella. But, you're going to need to get across in your CV the fact that you're a good communicator and you're able to express your ideas to other people. Teamwork. So no matter what line of work you're in, it's very likely that you're going to be working within a team of people, or at least with one other person, or have a manager to report to. So it's important that you show in your CV that you've got the ability to work alongside others and you can pull together to reach common goals. Motivation is more of a mindset than a skill, but it's very important that you show employers that you're motivated, you're ambitious, and you do want to get out there, achieve things both for yourself and for your employers. Diplomacy is the ability to deal with people and situations tactically to try and get the best results when things aren't perhaps going your way. So that's a very important skill to have in the workplace. Decision making. So this is a really, really big one. In any role you're in, you're going to be required to make decisions, and your thought process, how you think about making decisions, the fact that you need to be thinking about how your decision will affect others, people within your business, your customers, etc. Your decision making process is a big, big skill. And you've got problem solving. So, no job will come without problems. Things aren't always going to be plain sailing. But when problems do arise, it's how you deal with them that will separate you from other candidates. So, it's good to get examples of your problem solving into your CV. Adaptability is a big skill to have in the workplace because things are constantly changing in all industries, and your ability to adapt the way you work to make sure you're still delivering the same performance is a vital role in any job. Attention to detail, so the ability to be able to spot mistakes and ensure that the quality of the work you do is 100% is very, very important in any job. Creativity is not just limited to creative roles. So this doesn't just mean the ability to draw or to paint or something like that. It could also be creativity in coming up with a new marketing campaign or slogan, or even in HR coming up with a new process to onboard people. So it's a good skill to have in any role. Now that we've covered a number of soft skills that are vital for the CV, I want to look at some hard skills that are going to be important to the CV as well. Now, these skills are categorized into a number of broad categories. So just to kick things off, we've got finance, we've got IT, we've got sales and service. Now, these categories don't necessarily relate to that specific job. So for example, if you are in a management job, you still might have some financial responsibilities that require finance skills. You might need to do certain IT related things, even some sort of sales and service type stuff. So don't think that just because a skill falls into one of these categories and you don't work in that industry or that profession that they don't relate to you. It's worth having a look through all of these because you might find that you have a role that requires you to do a broad range of skills from all of these areas. So just continuing the list, we've got marketing, project management, administration, and management. Right, so now let's look at some of these in a bit more detail. So looking at the finance category, and again, this is not necessarily for finance jobs. You'll find that a lot of these skills are applicable to many other jobs. So we have budgeting, we have reporting, forecasting, payroll, cost saving, bookkeeping, account preparation, and profit and loss. Now, this is not an endless list of finance skills, but these are some of the core finance skills that you could possibly look to include in your CV. And then we've got IT tech skills. So these are important because obviously technology plays a big part in many workplaces these days. We've got troubleshooting, so looking into what's causing problems within IT and trying to diagnose them. We've got requirements gathering, so this is more of an actual IT profession-based role, but it's looking at gathering requirements that someone may have to then go and build a certain system or IT program around. We've got development, which is obviously sort of coding, programming. We've got testing, making sure IT systems work, which can fall into a number of different roles. Software tool and knowledge. Now, this is one that will definitely fall into many, many roles. I think these days, whatever job you're in, it's likely that you're going to need to have knowledge of some sort of piece of software or hardware that is needed to carry out your job. And then you've got installation. So obviously that's more of a techie one, actually, making sure that sort of hardware and software is installed. Database administration, so another one that could easily fall outside of technology, is actually maintaining databases and files and records and things like that. And recommending, so that's probably more of an actual IT role based one, but it's looking at what products are available and recommending certain software to people. Sales and service skills are obviously very important if you have a role that involves dealing with customers, but they can also be important in roles that just involve liaising with people internally. So customer service, the ability to be able to deal with customers outside of your work and make sure you are providing a good service and also doing best by your employer as well. Relationship management, so the ability to manage ongoing relationships with clients and make sure that everybody's getting the best out of that relationship. Negotiation, the ability to be able to discuss with people and try to get the best for your organisation. So this could be things like, organising new suppliers and negotiating with them to get a better deal on your stationery or something like that. But it could also be if you're making a sale when you're trying to get the best price for your products or services. Sales closing, so obviously this is a big sales one, but the ability to be able to close sales and make sure that you're actually getting those sales made is very, very important. And target achievement as well. So, a lot of businesses will put targets on sales, but also other things like cost saving and customer happiness. So the ability to be able to work towards those targets is often very important. Networking. So, if you've got a role that involves networking, it often means you'll have to go along to networking events. You'll have to perhaps cold call people and try and get in front of people. So the ability to grow your network is very important in a job like that. Complaint resolution. So, any business will have complaints, and how you're able to deal with those complaints to ensure that customers are still happy, and also that, you're not doing too much of a disservice to your own business is very important. And lead generation is another big one. So, businesses rely on having leads coming through to be able to make sales. So, the ability to generate leads, whether it's through cold calling, emails, or whatever it might be, is very, very important. Product, service and knowledge. Now, this is probably important for any role really, but particularly sales. If you're going out selling, then you need to know what your product and service is about. But, if you work for any business, it's obviously, it's beneficial if you have a good knowledge of what they do, regardless of where you sit within the company. And influencing, so the ability to get people around to your way of thinking, really. So, this could be externally when talking to customers and clients, but it could also be internally if you're trying to sell new ideas to people within your own company. Marketing skills are likely to be tied to marketing type roles, but there are still some skills in here that could cross across many different roles. So you've got market research, actually researching into your target market for your particular business's customers, finding out what their likes are and things like that. Then campaign management, so, the actual physical running and management of a campaign. Advertising, so whether that's print advertising or advertising on Google or Facebook, having the skills to actually sort of make adverts and deliver them. Content creation, so this can actually fall into a number of areas, but also spans marketing too. So this could be things like writing blogs, making videos, making infographics, or any kind of content that connects with your target users for your employer. And then you've got user experience, so this is mainly involved with websites, so looking at how users interact with your website and making sure it's a seamless interaction. Email marketing, so running email marketing campaigns. Social media management, so it's very important these days that companies look good and are providing lots of value via their social media channels, and they need people to be able to do that. Search engine optimization, so that is the process of ensuring that a company's website is showing up in the relevant Google searches, for example. And project management skills are very, very valuable. So again, not just strictly tied to project management roles. Within a number of jobs, you're going to have the need to actually run projects and make sure that you get good outcomes from them. So falling into that, we've got scheduling. So, making sure that a project is running on time by sort of breaking down the events that go into it and making sure that they're all delivered on time. Leadership. Now, again, this is actually valuable across a number of jobs, but the ability to actually lead people, to get people to follow your advice, and to work towards a common goal. Risk management. So with any project, there's going to be risks, and how you manage them to mitigate those risks is very, very important. And delivery, so the actual delivery of projects. So it's very important that if you're tasked with getting a project done, that you actually do deliver the results that are supposed to come from that. And gaining buy-in, so the ability to speak to people within your business, usually more senior people, and actually get them behind your project. So it's being able to go to them and say, look, we need to get this done. Can I get the resources? Can I get the time? Can I get the funding and things like that? And then finally, we've got stakeholder management. So again, this is quite tied to project work. It's, the ability to manage the expectations of the senior people in the business who you're delivering the project to. But obviously this can also apply to things outside of project work as well. Administration skills are another very important category. No matter what job that you do, it's likely you're going to have some administrative duties. So things like document management. So, you might have a number of documents that you're responsible for. This could be anything from just looking after your own work and recording what you do to looking after files and reports for other teams. Reporting. So, reporting on, it could be on sales, it could be on company performance, it could be on a number of things, but often we're required to report things during roles. Data entry, data analysis, the ability to actually look at data, analyze it, and spot trends, and then looking at what we can do with that data to better ourselves. Typing, obviously, a pretty basic one, but then communications as well. So when I say communications, I mean things like sending out email communications to your team, or it might be simply just writing letters to people. It could be a number of categories. and business support as well. So, supporting more senior people in the business than yourself and helping them to do their role. Management skills are very important to get across in your CV. If you're a manager, obviously very, very important. But even if you are not a manager, but you're looking to progress, looking to take that next step, it's important to show people that you can do management related activities within your CV. So leadership is obviously a big one, the ability to be able to sort of lead and encourage others to follow you and get work done. Training, the ability to be able to actually upskill people, to teach them things and help them grow. Resource management, so if you manage a team, that is understanding, where the talents lie within your team and making sure you're allocating the right people to the right jobs. Staff development, so that's, if you manage a team and you've got people that sit underneath you and you want to make sure that in a few years' time that their careers progress, is putting plans in place and having regular check-ins with them to make sure they're actually developing their skill set so their career grows. Delegation, so that's, knowing what work you should be doing yourself and what you should be giving to other people to make sure the team is moving forward quicker. And strategy, so that's the ability to think long term, to plan things out and make sure that you are, hitting your long term goals. And process improvement, so if you've got processes within your business that aren't working properly or you think they could be done better, it's the ability to actually go in to make changes, to change those processes and make sure they run better, smoother, so that you save time and money. So now that we've run through a big list of valuable skills that you can add to your CV, it's important that you understand how to actually add these to your CV in a way that recruiters will want to see. And we need to look at how to add hard skills to the CV and also soft skills. So I'm going to start with hard skills because they are really the most important thing that you need to include in your CV. And the reason for this is that when a hiring manager is looking for staff, he will generally give a hard skill description to a recruiter. So he'll phone a recruiter and he'll say something like this: I need you to find me somebody with 5 years sales experience who can generate leads, build relationships, lead negotiations and close deals. Now you'll see there are lots of hard skills in this description: sales experience, generate leads, build relationships, lead negotiations, close deals. Generally speaking, a hiring manager will not phone a recruiter and say, I need to find somebody who is a well-organised team player with good communication skills. And the reason they won't say that is because that is a very generic description. It's full of generic skills, soft skills. And it doesn't really explain what he's looking for. It could be anybody. It could be an artist, a doctor, an accountant. We just don't know. So what this means is when recruiters go out and they start to look for candidates, when they're searching the job boards, they're searching for the hard skills like sales, leads, lead generation. They're not searching for motivated team players because, again, that would bring anyone up in a search. It wouldn't be any good to them. And when they're scanning your CV, they're scanning the CV and they're looking for those hard skills. They're not looking for the soft skills. So when it comes to adding hard skills to the CV, you need to make sure that they are prominent and they are noticed by recruiters quickly. And one of the best ways you can do this is by packing your top quarter of your CV full of those hard skills. So the top quarter is this section here. So you can see on the diagram, it's the part of the CV that's visible when the CV is first opened without the reader having to scroll down. And the reason you want to pack this part in particular with your hard skills is because you want to create the impact when a recruiter opens up your CV that straight away they just see lots and lots of the skills that they've been searching for, and it instantly will excite them and give them the impression they've got the right candidate, and it will encourage them to stick with your CV and read the rest of it. So if you look at this example here, this person has absolutely packed the profile and the core skills section with all of their really in-demand hard skills, so that straight away when someone opens that CV, they've got a good idea that they've got a suitable person for the job that's being advertised for. And the next area where you'll want to be getting a lot of your hard skills into is your role descriptions within your CV, so your previous jobs. But it's not just a case of writing down the skills. What you want to do is show the impact that you made by applying those skills. So you use the responsibility you had, which are your skills, and you show the result. So you're trying to show not just what you did, but what was the result of what you did, and that proves the impact that you made through those skills. So instead of just writing a job responsibility that says negotiating with customers, because that is a valid skill, but it still doesn't really tell us the full picture. What you should do instead is write negotiating with customers to increase purchase values and boost monthly revenue for the business. So what that does is not only shows that you've got the skill, but it shows how you apply the skill and how you benefited the employer, which is obviously going to be the main thing that's of interest to the recruiter who's reading your CV. They want to know, if they hire you, what can you actually bring to the business? How can you help them? Adding soft skills to your CV is a little bit more tricky than adding hard skills, simply because it's hard to prove and quantify soft skills. So if you're good at teamwork or you've got great attention to detail, it's quite tough to prove that and put numbers to it. You can't say my attention to detail is 10 out of 10, because that won't really mean anything to anybody. And on top of that, as I said before, recruiters are not actively looking for soft skills. And then in addition to those 2 points, if you fill your CV with soft skills, nobody will be able to understand what you actually do. So if you take this profile for an example, it says the person is a high-achieving professional, strong work ethic, able to work well in a team, consistently achieve their goals and build their skill set. Those are all great things, but what does this person do? We just don't know. They could be anything. They could be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer. We just don't know. So the combination of all those things makes it very difficult to add soft skills to your CV. So how do you add soft skills to your CV? Well, it's really simple. All you do is you imply them rather than state them. So what that means is, instead of literally writing them word for word, you just imply them by writing about the things that you do within your roles. So if, for example, you're trying to get across the fact that you are organised, motivated and a team player, you won't simply write those things on the CV, because that leaves it unproven, and again it just sounds very generic, and recruiters have seen these phrases before. So instead, what you would do is you write in your role description something like, leading a team of 10 to generate a target pipeline of leads over 3 months with regular check-ins, progress updates and supporting underperformers. Now, this doesn't include any of those phrases, but we can tell by looking at this you're organised, because you're leading a team of 10 people to manage a pipeline with regular check-ins. Shows you're motivated because you're leading sales and you're supporting underperformers, and it shows you're a team player because you're managing a team there. So that's how you would go around proving those things without actually writing them, and that's generally how you should write about your soft skills throughout the CV, rather than simply stating them. So that brings me to the end of this video guide. Hopefully it's given you a good idea on some skills you can add to your own CV and how you can go about adding them in order to get the best results from your CV and get plenty of interviews and hopefully get the job that you really want. If you have any questions, please ask below in the comments. I'll try to get back to as many as I possibly can. And of course, check out the rest of the channel where we've got lots of CV advice videos and general job search tips. Thanks a lot.